Sniper duels are common in movies, but they're actually pretty rare in real life. Snipers spend most of their time protecting friendly troops and engaging enemy riflemen. Still, snipers have faced off intense, life-and-death battles. Here are 5 legendary cases where snipers hunted one another. His vanity license plate's in Virginia Red Sniper, and during the Vietnam War he was just that, the bearer of a surprising, sudden death to enemy soldiers. But when Marine Gunnery Sergeant Carlos N. Hathcock II died last week at the age of 57, the enemy that ultimately felled him was the slow, patient progression of multiple sclerosis. No Marine sniper was more effective than Hathcock at killing North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces. The number 93 reflects his confirmed kills, but his actual total is believed to be well over 100. As a testament to his effectiveness, North Vietnam once put a bounty of $30,000 on his head. The Viet Cong knew him as well and called him Long Trang the White Feather because he often wore one in his bush hat. Marine legend Gunnery Sergeant Carlos Hathcock fought a few sniper battles during his time in Vietnam as the North Vietnamese sent sniper after sniper to hunt him. In one sniper duel, Hathcock found the trail of an NVA sniper hunting him. While following the sniper, Hathcock tripped over a tree and gave away his position. The NVA sniper took a shot but hit Hathcock's spotter's canteen. The men maneuvered against each other, and Hathcock eventually caught sight of a glint in the brush. He fired and then moved forward to investigate. As Hathcock had suspected, the glint was from the enemy scope. Hathcock's round had gone straight through the tube and through the sniper's eye. Hathcock remains a legend in the Marines. The Carlos Hathcock Award is presented annually to the Marine who does the most to promote marksmanship. And there is a sniper range named for Hathcock at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Late in his life, he was awarded a Silver Star, the third highest military honor, for an incident that happened nearly 30 years earlier when he pulled 7 comrades off a burning armored personnel carrier that had struck a mine. That act of bravery left Hathcock badly burned and effectively ended his career as a rifleman. A rural farm boy from Queensland, Billy Singh joined the armed forces and became one of the most revered snipers of World War I. It is estimated that unlikely sniper Billy Singh achieved more than 200 kills during his deployment as a sniper in the war trenches of Gallipoli. He was consequently decorated as an Australian Imperial soldier in the First World War. His deadly bullseye in the Gallipoli campaign were legendary and earned him the nicknames the Assassin and the Murderer from his comrades. Though Singh had a celebrated career as a soldier, he would die in near obscurity. This ill-befitting end, however, could not extinguish the impressive flame his military accomplishments burned into history. His duel against Abdul the Terrible, an equally prominent marksman on the Ottoman Empire, remains legendary in World War I lore. To this day, the counter-sniper party between Singh and Abdul is regarded as one of the greatest such matches in history. Billy Singh posed an undeniable threat to the Ottoman forces. As retaliation for the hundreds of slain Turkish soldiers who Singh single-handedly wiped out, the Ottoman Guard assigned Abdul the Terrible to take him out. An equally deadly sniper, Abdul the Terrible was described as the pride of the Turkish army. His rifle, which had likely killed as many as Singh's had, was dubbed the Mother of Death. Abdul the Terrible ignored the easier targets that could be spotted on the field and searched only for where Singh might be. The Turkish sniper carefully observed every shot from the other side so that he could estimate the trajectory of the bullet and, therefore, locate Singh's whereabouts. Ultimately, Abdul's patience paid off. He discovered that the opposing sniper's shots were coming from one spot nearly on top of a trench across from Chatham's post. Once he had locked down Singh, Abdul the Terrible began to dig a foxhole where he would climb into before dawn and prepare to kill his enemy at Chatham's post. But before Abdul could fire his first bullet toward his Australian rival, Singh caught Abdul in his eyesight first and killed him. In the end, Billy Singh successfully outpaced the Turkish soldier during their counter-sniper duel and killed his rival marksman. But he barely made it out of the duel alive, escaping a hailfire from Turkish troops, who were alerted to his position just after he had killed Abdul. Billy Singh received his first commendation from General Sir Ian Hamilton and was awarded the British Distinguished Conduct Medal for his contributions at Gallipoli. In 1943, Billy Singh died of heart failure at just 57. Sadly, at that point, Singh had carried out the remainder of his life as an unknown man living poorly in a boarding house in Brisbane, Australia. The once famous sniper left behind a miner's hut worth $27.25 in his room at the boarding house. His grave at Lutwyche Cemetery was even left unmarked for 50 years until historian Brian Tate revealed Singh's incredible life story in the local newspaper. Soon after the story was published, a marker was placed on his grave to commemorate the incredible sniper almost lost to history. With at least 505 confirmed kills during the Winter War of 1939-40 between Finland and the Soviet Union, Simo Häyhä (1905–2002) has been labeled the deadliest sniper in history. At the dawn of World War II in 1939, Joseph Stalin sent over 500,000 men across Russia's western border to invade Finland. It was a move that would cost tens of thousands of lives, and it was the beginning of the legend of Simo Häyhä. For 3 months, the two countries fought in the Winter War, and in an unexpected turn of events, Finland the underdog emerged victorious. The defeat was a stunning blow to Russia. Stalin, upon invading, had believed that Finland was an easy mark. His reasoning was sound. After all, the numbers were decidedly in his favor. The Russian army marched into Finland with roughly 750,000 soldiers, while Finland's army was just 300,000 strong. The smaller Nordic nation had just a handful of tanks and a little over 100 aircraft. The Russians, by contrast, had nearly double everything, with almost 6,000 tanks and over 3,000 aircraft. It seemed there was simply no way they would lose. But the Finnish had something that the Russians didn't. A diminutive farmer turned sniper named Simo Häyhä. Standing just 5 feet tall, the mild-mannered Häyhä was far from intimidating and actually quite easy to overlook, which is perhaps what made him so suited for sniping. When Stalin's troops invaded, as a former military man, Häyhä was called into action. Before reporting for duty, he pulled his old gun out of storage. It was an antique Russian-made rifle, a bare-bones model with no telescopic lens. Armed with his trusty rifle and his white suit, Häyhä did what he did best. Preferring to work alone, he supplied himself with a day's worth of food and several clips of ammunition, then snuck quietly through the woods. Over the course of the Winter War, which lasted roughly 100 days, Häyhä killed between 500 and 542 Russian soldiers, all with his antiquated rifle. While his comrades were using state-of-the-art telescopic lenses to zoom in on their targets, Häyhä was fighting with an iron sight, which he felt gave him a more precise target. He also gained a reputation among the Finnish people. The White Death was frequently the subject of Finnish propaganda, and in the people's minds, he became a legend, a guardian spirit who could move like a ghost through the snow. When the Finnish High Command heard about Häyhä's skill, they presented him with a gift. A brand new, custom-built sniper rifle. Unfortunately, 11 days before the Winter War ended, Simo Häyhä was finally struck. A Soviet soldier caught sight of him and shot him in the jaw, landing him in a coma for 11 days. He awoke as the peace treaties were being drawn up with half of his face missing. However, the injury hardly slowed Simo Häyhä down. Though it did take several years to come back from being hit in the jaw with explosive ammunition, he eventually made a full recovery and lived to the ripe old age of 96. In the years after the war, he continued to use his sniping skills and became a successful moose hunter, regularly attending hunting trips with Finnish President Urho Kekkonen. Waldron enlisted in the United States Navy on January 3, 1952, and served during the Korean War. He was discharged from the Navy on July 27, 1965, after more than 12 years of service. Despite the fact that America was becoming embroiled in a controversial and increasingly bloody war in Vietnam, 35-year-old Waldron enlisted in the United States Army on May 7, 1968, and was accorded the rank of Staff Sergeant, in line with his Navy rank on discharge. He attended basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia, and arrived in South Vietnam on November 4, 1968. Not long after his arrival, Sergeant Waldron was accepted into an 18-day sniper training program, taught by a team from the Army Marksmanship Unit, and led by Major Willis L. Powell, an expert marksman and former instructor at Fort Benning. He graduated on January 4, 1969, and was assigned to the 3rd Battalion, 60th Infantry Regiment, 9th Infantry Division, commanded by Lieutenant General Julian J. Ewell. Waldron's primary weapon was the XM-21, a modified version of the M14 rifle. The semi-automatic gas-powered XM-21 Sniper Weapon System, SWS, incorporated the strengths of the M14, with modifications to improve its efficiency. The newly designed Leatherwood 3x to 9x adjustable ranging telescope (ART) enhanced its range and accuracy. The XM21 could also be fitted with an AN-PVS-2 Starlight night vision scope. Early in 1969, a psionics suppressor was added to the XM21, which reduced the muzzle blast to such an extent that one could not tell where the shot came from beyond 100 meters. A detachable magazine held 5 or 20 rounds of ammunition. The rifle was 44 inches long, weighed roughly 12 pounds, and had an effective range of 900 yards. It was renamed the M21 in 1972, when the Army approved it as the official standard for sniper weapons. After graduating from the sniper program, Staff Sergeant Waldron found himself in one of the most dangerous areas in Vietnam. The Mekong Delta was a highly populated agrarian plain in South Vietnam, with a virtual maze of streams, canals and rice paddies, which made foot travel slow and arduous. The area was heavily infested by the Viet Cong, who used the network of waterways to transport weapons, supplies, and insurgents throughout the region. Not only did these soldiers face an inhospitable environment, with malaria-bearing mosquitoes, snakes, leeches, wasps and microbes and fungi which caused debilitating foot diseases, but also deadly mines and booby traps. The Viet Cong were homegrown communist insurgents who knew the terrain and blended into the civilian population. They were able to gain support from the South Vietnamese people through a combination of political propaganda, intimidation, and violence. Allied troops would launch countless search and destroy operations throughout South Vietnam in an effort to break the insurgency, but the Viet Cong would simply melt away into the jungles and villages, seeking to avoid a pitched battle with superior forces. The Viet Cong utilized classic guerrilla tactics of ambushes, hit-and-run attacks, booby traps, bombings, and snipers to gradually inflict losses on Allied troops. While the Americans and their allies roamed openly in the daylight, the Viet Cong and NVA owned the night, launching some of their deadliest attacks. But American snipers were determined to even those odds. On the night of January 19, 1969, Sergeant Adelbert F. Waldron was conducting a reconnaissance mission with a squad from Company B, 3rd Battalion, 60th Infantry Regiment in Quien Hoa Province, South Vietnam. The group suddenly came under attack by an estimated force of 40 heavily armed Viet Cong. As the fighting raged, Waldron made an incredibly bold move by leaving the safety of their defenses to set up a sniper position. Using the Starlight night vision scope on his rifle, he was able to spot the enemy maneuvering in the dark. In the ensuing gunfight, Waldron killed and wounded several Viet Cong, inflicting so many casualties that the insurgents broke contact and withdrew. For this action he was awarded the Bronze Star with a V for Valor. On the night of January 30, Sergeant Waldron and a fellow soldier set up a sniper ambush position at a strategic intersection, surrounded by a large rice paddy just northeast of Ben Tree. At 8 p.m., Waldron took out a Viet Cong scout maneuvering in the tree line. 40 minutes later, a squad of 16 Viet Cong began moving towards their position. Calls for artillery were denied because of the risk to civilians in a village near their position. Despite the lack of support, Waldron decided to engage the enemy. With 8 shots, he took out 8 Viet Cong during the ensuing firefight at a range of over 500 meters. With half of their men dead, the remaining Viet Cong withdrew into the darkness. For numerous acts of heroism in Quien Hoa Province from February 5 to March 29, 1969, Sergeant Adelbert F. Waldron III was awarded his Second Distinguished Service Cross. In just a short time, he had developed a reputation as the deadliest sniper in the Mekong Delta, earning him the nickname Daniel Boone. But Waldron had also gained notoriety among the enemy. To the Viet Cong, he was a major thorn in their side, making him and other snipers priority targets. After serving 8 months in the jungles of Vietnam, Sergeant Waldron's unit returned to the United States in July 1969. During his tour of duty in Vietnam, Sergeant Waldron had 109 confirmed kills. To put this into perspective, between December 1968 and May 1969, the 9th Infantry Division snipers were credited with 934 confirmed kills, 12% were made by Waldron alone, making him the deadliest American sniper of all time. It was a distinction he held for over 40 years, until his record was surpassed in 2006 by U.S. Navy SEAL Chris Kyle. The most decorated sniper of the Vietnam War, Waldron earned 3 Bronze Stars, a Silver Star, 2 Distinguished Service Crosses, and a Presidential Unit Citation for actions in the Mekong Delta. During the battle for Stalingrad, top Soviet sniper Vasily Zaitsev had over 400 confirmed kills, a number he was adding to throughout the battle. The Germans also had a top sniper there, Major Koenig. Zaitsev studied the battlefield and Koenig's kills until he deduced Zaitsev was hiding under a sheet of metal in a pile of bricks. Zaitsev used a friend as bait to draw out Koenig and then picked off the German sniper when he exposed himself. The story was adapted for the Hollywood movie Enemy at the Gates, but some have called the historical battle a piece of fiction as well. The story is good, but it may have just been Soviet propaganda.